Get out!
Hello tankers and tankettes, welcome to a slightly older replay of mine. This is an AT-15 game on Ensk, and as you can see I'm putting up with Circon but also Ektar. I think it's one of the few replays I've actually got where Ektar's in it. He does very occasionally drop into the stream, but he's doing a bit of streaming himself these days, so you can find him on Twitch. Although, obviously, you know, you should go to twitch.tv/Circon first because, you know... Wow, that shilling, eh? So, the AT-15, it's a pretty good machine if you can stand the slow pace. All of the British TDs from Tier 5 to Tier 9 are basically more or less the same. They're not entirely the same, obviously, you know, the different armour and gun layouts do provide for some variety of gameplay, but for the most part they share some similar characteristics. They're all fairly high DPM, they've all got very good gun handling. They're basically trundling death bunkers, and if you really don't like the slow speed then you're probably not going to like them, but if you like to sit in front of somebody and just DPM them to death, then on the other hand they may be for you. Now the AT-15 is... it's the one that, I mean, it looks most like the Torty. It's fairly well armoured, it's got a 20-pounder gun, and although the gun isn't really an upgrade from the AT-7, which also gets the 20-pounder, the gun handling, the rate of fire, everything just gets better with the AT-15. It's also, as you can see, got an absolutely absurd horizontal traverse arc, and the gun depression is actually really good as well. But the downside is that unlike the two previous ones, but like the AT-2, it's entirely possible to pen it through the middle hole in the gun mantlet, basically. So that can be annoying. So Ektar's gone down this flank, and there's not really much, as you can see, we've not really encountered much opposition. And I'm kind of waffling a bit because Circon's got a Centurion to deal with. And obviously I could have sat there and laid down some fire on that guy. But on the other hand, there are, you know, 4 arties per team. So just sitting there at the end of the tracks would probably get me artilleried. So in the end I decide I'm just going to keep trundling down this way, support Ektar, because, you know, we're going to meet stuff. We know where the enemy tanks are more or less on this map by this point. And, you know, maybe I'll get to nail some artilleries as well. But this, I mean, I've not done much damage up till this point, but you're going to get to see both the good points and the bad points of the AT-15 really in this one replay. You're going to get to see its DPM in action. Obviously you haven't really seen it yet, but you're also going to get to see why the speed can be a bit of a handicap, and why, although when you start off the line with the AT-2 the armour is quite troll really, by the time you get to kind of tier 8 and 9 the armour isn't worth nearly so much because it doesn't really increase that much. The only real jump in the line is when you go from the AT-15 to the Torty. And by the time you've got the Torty, I did keep the AT-15 for a little bit, but by the time you got the Torty, that's kind of like the ultimate evolution of the Nuffield series, so there's not much point in hanging on to it when you've got a Torty, because that's just, you know, it's the AT-15 on steroids, basically. So, yeah, the team in the town hasn't done that well. Circon's hanging on. And yeah, K1S is about to die. So we might end up in this is a tricky situation because they've got their top tier heavies left, and myself, Circon and Ektar are the only top tiers left on our team plus an artillery. But our artillery is about to die, the Jagdpanther's about to die, and the enemy team are, you know, Ensk is a small map, it's very easy to get back and defend. And as you can see, that's exactly what their heavies are doing. Now, like I said, this is a slightly older replay. This is 8.9, so yeah, apologies for the... I do, in parts, have the what some people find annoying habit of flicking in and out. Sometimes that serves a purpose, sometimes it doesn't, and in this particular match it didn't quite. So Ektar's down, unfortunately. It's just myself and an 88. And if I can take out that 5100, that will be useful. The remaining artillery that's there could be painful as well. Now, Circon's died unfortunately, so the ISU and the 30 are going to be coming back. And now it's just myself and an 88. So, yeah, you can see the DPM is starting to be put to work here, though. I mean, I'm I've gone from, what, trundling down the 7-8 line with 250 damage, and yeah, that was such a good shot, right? To, you know, 1900, 2100. This DPM is just, yeah, but you're seeing a weakness of this machine in that it does not excel at close quarters combat. It's really not good at that at all. So the third is coming, and he's full health, and that's unfortunate. The ISU, at least I might have a chance to kill. So I'm trying to get forward a bit, but yeah, if he just pulls the trigger, then I'm dead. Although for some reason, he decides to try and ram me, which doesn't work out well for him. Now the third is just going for the AT, and I set him on fire, but he extinguishes it. And he's about to kill the other AT, so that's not good. However, there's still a chance. It's now 2 versus 1. The artillery I know is hurt. The 30 is damaged, and I get a perfect chance to take his axle. But he's got a repair kit. No, no, why? Oh well. Now, yeah, okay. That was that was not a fun loss, especially. I mean, I did get a sniper medal. It was nearly 3,200 damage, 5 kills. I even survived a close quarters encounter with not 1 but 2 enemy heavy tanks. So, all in all, you know, it's not like that was a bad showing for the AT-15. It's just, it's a pity it wasn't a win. I don't know, maybe it could have been. I don't know why I particularly remember this, but Circon after that battle reckoned that if I hadn't paused after, you know, if I hadn't sat still after that axle shot, because I figured I hoped rather that the 30 didn't have his repair kit, but obviously that was a false hope as it turned out. If I'd actually gone forwards and tried to get to the guy's side, then I could probably have taken him, because I've got obviously that ridiculous gun arc. Even side hugging somebody, there was probably a good chance I could still have shot him. However, it was not to be, and I'm still not convinced that that would have worked even so, just because of the slow nature of the AT-15. He repaired very quickly. I think I maybe would have covered half that distance by the time he got his tracks back up, and that it still wouldn't have been enough. He still could have gotten his gun to bear on me. And then there still would have been artillery to deal with, and he wasn't a one-shot kill unless I got very, very lucky. The AT on this is not particularly great on the 20-pounder gun, so yeah, I think there's still a very real chance, even if I had somehow taken out the 30, that the artillery would have just derped me in the face instead. But that said, you know, this was still a pretty good result, and it does show both the strengths and the weaknesses of the AT-15. That was a battle that was, what, less than 6 minutes? 5.5 minutes, almost exactly. 3.2k damage in less than... In fact, I spent half the battle trundling down the side of the tracks following Ektar, so that's 3,500 damage in the space of maybe 2.5 minutes. So that just goes to show, you know, the DPM on this is really great. It's just when you get really up close and personal with other tanks, then things can get a bit more tricky. But it's still better at that than the previous couple of AT tanks, just because of that excellent gun traverse arc. So, yes, it was not particularly a fun defeat. But on the other hand, 1,020 base XP on a defeat, you know what, I'll take it. That was the second best score of anybody on either team, only surpassed by the enemy Ferdinand with, again, nearly 32k 32k damage. That would be impressive. 3.2k damage and 7 kills. The enemy ISU actually did more with 3.7k damage, but he's in an ISU top tier. It's not that impressive in an ISU. I think the 30's 3.2k damage is actually more impressive, considering, as well as the fact that he managed not to take any damage at all until he met me. So yeah, the AT-15, it does what it does pretty well, and I think it prepares you very well for what you get with the Torty. And really, at the end of the day, I think the best thing about the UK tank destroyer line is that you effectively get 2 tier 10 machines. You've got the Tortoise with its 2,000 hit points, its absurd DPM, and its familiar playstyle, shall I put it that way? And then, of course, you get the tier 10, again, 2,000 hit points, which has the big massive Doom cannon and has a totally different playstyle. And Some people are just going to be going through to get to the tier 10, but if you're like me, if you enjoyed the AT series playstyle generally, then you might want to hang on to both, because the Torty is effectively a tier 10 with better matchmaking, and what's not to like about that? So, if you enjoyed this replay, you can hit the like button, you can leave any comments below blaming Ektar for not using his secret wargaming hacks for, you know, netting us the victory. Clearly it was Ektar's fault at the end of the day. You know, you should definitely go on his Twitter and tell him that, you know, hashtag blame Ektar. Yep, that's a thing. Wow, I'm so gonna hear about that. You can subscribe to my channel, and as always, stay tuned for more.